Well, let's dig in. I mean, I love it, man. I really do. I think you're doing a great job. From from if I could just take a moment to just validate a number of things. So like
Absolutely.
the name is great, nice and clean, kind of easy to build brand around, real trustworthy sounding. Um, Buying Conversate and kind of even having the idea to nurture community around Alexa is also pretty advanced. Because what you're experiencing is push and pull that I experienced as well, which is okay. Ally makes you money now,
Right.
right? But Conversate and like longer tail things build more brand equity,
Right.
right? So it's like, well, shit, you got to keep your foot on the gas to keep making cash. Um, However, here's a really interesting thing. So back in 2015 is when I started making like content stuff like that, and at that time, my peer base, or some friends that I had with me in my office or whatever, they were doing things that made them money now, right?
Okay. Right.
And I was building this project called Co-Found Harlem, which was like this non-for-profit incubator. It was really like
Right.
forward-thinking kind of project, but it made no money.
Right.
Um, and so I had a feeling in my gut that by you um by you doing the thing that makes money now, it does take care of your present situation. So and there's a definitely obviously a place for that. However, I had a feeling that if you go down the path that most people go down, which is taking care of the immediate, right, and not having any vision beyond that, then eventually you become commoditized. You just become one of many people doing an agency, let's say.
Right.
And so your gut is speaking to you and saying, hey, you know what? You might cannibalize a little bit of your growth and resources in the main thing that takes care of your bread, which, by the way, you're right to do to a certain extent, right? To take care of your overhead and what have you.
Right.
But by you cannibalizing it and taking some of your resources and putting it into building brand equity in something that's more differentiated, right? I
Right.
saw with my own eyes as as time went on, I proved myself right because my homies might have made more, in the short term,
Right.
but you know, I went like this where and it wasn't like this. It was like gradual, gradual, gradual. And then the types of opportunities that I'm getting now are wildly differentiated, but they're
Right.
only coming to me as a result of having done some shit that was different.
Right.
Like
Absolutely.
if I would have done doing at the time, like Facebook ads and what, just jump on the that made money now, they might have banked more than me at first, but the market will end up rewarding differentiated points, a differentiated body of work, and someone who's just built community around something that people cared about. So my first, so to your first point, you're 100% correct to feel like it's a push and a pull because they do
Right.
push and pull on each other.
Yeah,
Because
I agree.
yeah, and I went through a period where, whew, it was a lean period where,
Right.
I would dare say that I probably aired too much on the side of just doing brand rich projects because I entered a space where I wasn't even taking care of my own self, dude, because I was I was just so overly enamored with this project that I was building for the community, and I really wanted to do it. And
Right.
the thing is, my risk tolerance, I was just like, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with like living on fucking zero. And I even got to the point, if I could be vulnerable and honest, where like, I felt way behind on my rent and I got fucking evicted and like I laid it all on the line and I could
Absolutely.
say I fucking did it. I could say I fucking did it.
Right.
And it was painful, but I hung in there just long enough for, the way that it manifested into dollars for me, just so you have a tangible sense, was like, at some point, there was a big podcast company called Gimlet Media, and they were just like, yo, we're doing this podcast for eBay. We've been looking for people that would make like kind of a fresh, interesting host, not someone who's just done cookie cutter shit, but like someone who's done something different. And hey, look, I know you're
Right.
doing Co-Found Harlem full time, but like, would you maybe consider this? And if you could believe it, it's like my saving grace, because I thought that my number was 10. I thought that they were going to pay me 10K for the season. And she was like 7. And I was like, I knew it. And then she said per episode. And she was like, yeah, 7 per episode. And I was like,
Okay.
I was holding out for 20 per episode. She's like, how about 10 per episode? And I was like, done. And I got paid that 10K per episode for a 6-episode season 1. We end up doing 2 seasons.
Nice.
But this is an example of, I hadn't even considered for a moment that this is something that you could even be paid for, right? And I got the opportunity only because I did something that was like fucking weird and wild, and like just built brand equity for 2 years. I did it.
Right.
And so then that opportunity beget more of that, because you know how awareness goes. Like once you even know, like once you even found out about no code, you're like, oh shit, I could do that. So like same thing. Like once I even got paid to do some shit like branded podcasting, I was like, oh, whoa. And then it opened up speaking, and then it opened up kind of like book deals, and then it opened up all kinds of shit. And I just been galloping ever since. And it beget, then Harlem Capital was even an opportunity. And it just like the cornerstone of my career now was the 2 or 3 years that I spent eating shit before.
Right.
So me being you have a much healthier mix at your disposal, right? Because in that time, I didn't have a monetizable skill that can make me money now.
Right.
So me being you, I would spend, whatever percentage of time, you need to take care of yourself, your family, and all the stuff that you're going through, right? And you're putting that into the agency. But as much as you could possibly put into things that have a longer tail, like Conversate and like just building community, producing content, even though it's true that you're cannibalizing your short-term earnings, you are seeding your long-term potential. You're nurturing your long-term potential. You're investing into your long-term potential. And, you'll spend 12, 18 months doing that. And then you start hitting this tipping point where it starts picking up and working for you and generating other streams of income. And, you take it to a wild place, where Amazon Alexa is hosting a workshop and like, hey, look, we've been keeping an eye on you. We'd love to have you kind of come in and do this. We don't have much budget. We're paying $2,500 for it plus flight and lodge. You say, all right, cool, bet. You go, you do it, you record it. Then it gets in the eyes of Adobe, like, yo, and then you do a Udemy session with them, and then it just kind of keeps going from there, and it turns into its own thing.
Okay, yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, you got it. Like,
Okay, so
yeah,
with that, it seems like you're saying, build the community, build the personal brand. I'm hearing all that. But with the Conversate, are you saying go more in on Conversate, or should I continue building up Ally as well? What's the give or take on that, you feel?
Good question. This is going to be something that you will have to experientially kind of feel out. My gut sense is that, first of all, let me just take a step back. How I see you have the podcast mic and all that stuff set up. Are you pretty comfortable just like speaking and podcasting and community building and like just in general?
I'm pretty much am. We used to do rap and do shows, and like we really were out there. It's just for the last few years I haven't been. So I even sold my camera, my equipment, and I've just been out the game. Just during quarantine, I've been buying a camera, the podcast mic. I'm trying to get myself back out there.
I love it. Okay, great. Bet. So, all right. So to that point, I think what you start doing is, look, I've seen numerous people win a number of different ways. So I'm not going to say that this is like the only way, but one thing that has really helped me is that when you can build a little bit of brand equity in your personal brand, it really helps because you can kind of build up whatever you want, So for instance, like I preserved my personal identity all while I was in Harlem Capital, HCP, right? And I can now build equity apparel. I can kind of build whatever I want, because just like Gary can do the same thing, because he's really got that personal brand. I've also seen it work where people lead with their entities almost entirely and have them take a back seat. Um, the reality of it is a little bit easier to build personal brand just given the nature of social networks because people will relate with a face more than they do a logo.
Right.
But you're only, you know, you're you can kind of build them in tandem where you know the eyeballs that you're getting and the attention that you'll be getting and people consume your content will really mostly matter to them because of the things that you're doing, like conversate and ally,
Right.
right? So what I want you to do is, you know, I'm a really big fan of kind of leading with your why or whatever that purpose is. And
Mhm.
you touched on it earlier, which is like, hey, look, I want to build a no code community so we can have a diversity of perspectives in here and have people really just like know that they can build, you know, things and whatever the eloquent
Right.
version of that is, right?
Yeah, like a side project we wanted to do is like on the content side
Mhm,
was something we were calling the Hustler's Handbook. And it
mhm,
was a website and it was like using these no code products to quickly spin up something that had resources for pretty much every hustle. You want to be
mhm,
a photographer, you want to be a chef, you want to be this or that. Well, okay, we're going to send you to this website to, get certified. We'll send you to this website to learn how to run your business. We
mhm.
just compiled the resources for you.
I love it. I love it. So I love seeing Dan Montgomery as the no code guy.
Okay.
Right? And, like, as a result, like, people are now coming to you, right, from this. You create a little podcast around it, you put it out once a week, once every 2 weeks, whatever frequency is sustainable for you. And
Right.
by the way, you'll ebb and flow. I definitely have started shit and then have had a hard time keeping it up and then kinda reinvented it, and I've definitely seen content where I watch myself play back and my own insecurities come out about myself when you watch yourself play back, you're just like, I
Right.
could have said this better. But, you'll get in the groove of just putting it out there. And then people will know Dan Montgomery is a no code guy. And, Conversate is one of the community that you're fostering. But then you also have your core business, which is, the Ally Branding Agency. So I see it all working together really nicely. And the
Okay.
thing, in my opinion, the thing that makes what would otherwise be disjointed efforts, what makes them feel cohesive is when you have that really clear kind of why, right? So, like, for instance,
Okay.
I'm in real estate, TV, venture. They would
Right.
feel really disjointed if it weren't for that people know that I'm all about building generational wealth for communities of color. It makes it
Right.
all make sense. Oh, that's why
Right.
he's in TV. That's why he's in real estate. That's why he's in VC. So
Right.
with you, kind of leading the way with like this, hey, I'm really passionate about, making, no code, making product building accessible for everyone. Then Conversate makes a lot of sense because that's how you do your thing. You know, Ally Branding makes sense because this is your practitionership. This is like how you make your money. So you're not just
Right.
another talking head that's not doing it. You have a core business, you have a core community, and you're spinning up side projects. So I think there's a way to make it all work for sure.
Okay.
And I personally like the idea of you building equity around Dan Montgomery, the no code guy,
Okay.
and then through extension, some of the other things that you have going for you.
Okay. Awesome.
Hmm. Hmm.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Oh no, I'm kind of stuck here at the moment. I feel like that was a good.
No, no,
Yeah,
no, that's
get
great. I mean,
turning.
no, that's great, man. I mean, you know how it is, man. It's like there's pretty little else to it, right? It's like
Right.
you've already shown that you're willing to be heads down, busting ass, right?
Right.
You've put the work in to learn the new skills, and you're really you're better positioned than a lot of people to grow community because a lot of the things that would come as an expense to people, like for instance, me, um, I got to pay every time I need a design or a this or a that, or you have that built in through
Right.
A, your personal abilities, and then B, your no code community that you kind of already have fostered. So I'm excited for it because it's a really organic evolution of what you're already doing, a niche that you already fit in, that you already found. And if you now just lend a voice to that and capture
Okay.
yourself just like how you are now,
Right.
screen record podcast, and you're just once every couple weeks, you're just sharing your thoughts on a particular area.
Right.
You know how it's done. Hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna get into no code. Like, what is it even anyway?
Right. Yeah. I was
Or
want to do a
some
few, not to cut you off, do a
yes.
few explainer videos, a few different things like that, but also do some like Zoom type videos where you're seeing me on the corner, but you're also seeing my screen, and maybe I'm building some stuff out for you, showing you how to do it.
Mhm. And those are uploaded on YouTube, and,
Right.
it's kind of a slow roll there. Like,
Mhm.
one thing I've found is that, people that really fuck with me, they'll really consume my long form content.
Right.
15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes,
Yeah.
even an hour, right? Word. Uh, and then the snippier things, the resources like that YouTube video that you were describing where it's like, "Hey, this is how you build this tool," or, the how-tos or whatever.
Right.
Those are the pieces for me that get a little bit more virality
Right. Okay.
because people share them,
Right.
right? So then you start understanding that, like, okay, different types of content have optimized for different types of results.
Right. Right.
Right?
Okay.
There's a reason that Gary shares those fucking rants because so many people will take Gary in the first way for the first time ever from one of those rants that someone shared on their timeline because it just fucking lit them up.
Right.
Just like a lot of people will discover you for the first time by just Googling that resource and seeing that video and being like, oh, this is interesting, you know, and then say, huh, I want to learn about this guy. And then they enter your funnel.
Right.
And then they'll stick around for the shit that you're producing on the regular, and they'll start consuming your long form, right? And then,
Right.
then they're in your ecosystem.
Absolutely.
They start learning about ally branding, which by the way is that's like Gary's VaynerMedia,
Right.
his core business. But then you also know about 137 and a bunch of the passion.
Mhm.
He's got a number of passion projects at any
Yeah,
given
pure
time.
wow, everything.
He'll sometimes he'll start him up and kill him off.
Right.
Like he killed off Vayner Experience, which was doing the conferences that he was doing.
Okay.
He made no noise about that. He started it,
Right.
it wasn't going that well, he killed it off. um but
Awesome.
but he's got that volume coming in of people discovering him, taking him in, and then he can just kind of direct it at his will. And so similarly, yo, what's up? Is Dan Montgomery the no code guy? I'm gonna show you how you can build anything. Yes, anything. If you don't believe me, stick around. We got great things that we're building out for you. And then you're just building mad shit from
Right, okay.
scratch.
I like it.
You're showing people like, hey, this is how I would build this shit no code, this shit no code. And people are just like, yo, I fuck with this guy. And they're just following you, following you, following you. And they follow conversate. And then you get to the point. The great thing is that, after enough time of just like, really being in the lab, perfecting your medium, your delivery, and whatever, you start getting twofold advantages where people start contracting you because like they heard about, hey, listen, I heard you did great shit. Like, I would love if you could build this app for me. So it starts
Right,
increasing the core business, and also you start getting
right.
picked up by for really brand rich things like like I said, Adobe's doing a
Earlier.
workshop,
Right,
or whatever else. Boom, boom. You start getting these opportunities, and you start becoming that dude.
right,
And they really start fueling each other. And if you stay the course, I'm just getting to the point now. I started doing all the content stuff 2015. It's 2020,
mhm,
halfway through
right,
2020. I'm starting to get to the point now where it's like I can really start to see some of the I can start to it's a virtuous cycle. Now, I got some of the lift far long ago, but what happens is just like how you're at your push and pull now, where it's like, okay, you're seeding and investing your energy and effort and resources into something that can kind of take you to the next level. Well, you'll
right,
do that a few times over. You'll
right,
get to the
of
point
course.
where you'll start getting some of that benefits from having putting into the content thing and your core business taking off. But now someone presented to you an opportunity and you're like, whoa, I kind of want to seed that now. And so
Right.
you'll seed a few different things. And then finally, 5-6 years later, you got to the point where they're kind of all working. And you're like, whoa,
In
is this a
tangent.
dream? Yeah, in tangent. And you're just like, whoa, this is fucking bizarre, you know?
Right.
And, and then, who knows where you take it from there. So that's kind of what I'm seeing for you, man. I'm very excited for you. I really think that you know, just what I've picked up about you from just your disposition, your temperament, your abilities, your community, and your gut and your intuition is all leading you to a really good place, man. A really good
Thank you.
place
I
for
really
sure.
appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm excited for you because I think the only thing left for you to do is just lock back in like you did when you were in hip hop
Right.
and just
Keep hitting
deliver
them.
the
Lil
Yep.
Wayne. Right.
That's right. That's
Okay, cool.
right. And before you know it, you become a thing, man. Yeah.
Right. Awesome. Uh, I know the time's got to be running out here. So, one last thing I wanted to hit on was I tried to email you
Mhm.
before all this, but you're busy, of course. You might not even have seen it. But I had bought another session another day when you were selling them, and they never sent me a
Oh,
they
okay.
never sent me a
Okay,
link
cool.
to set it up in Calendarly. So I didn't know if you wanted me to go
Mm.
back in from the original link and do that. And what I was hoping to pitch to you
Yeah.
is I was going to try to start a podcast called "Start a Business, Mind Your Own," and I was wondering if we could do that.
Love it. Love it. I'm with it. I'm happy to be a guest on the pod. Sorry to business mind your own. It's another good name. Um, and um, and yeah, for sure. You can book with the same link.
Okay.
And I made my schedule available up through Thursday, 'cause then I'm
Mhm.
gonna do a little bit of travel. But what I'm gonna
Okay.
do is open it back up, and I want you to feel the leisure to book that whenever it makes sense for you, because
Okay.
you might have gotten enough dry powder now to sit, bust ass, and execute for another 2 weeks
Absolutely.
to a month, and then whenever it makes the most sense for you to tune back in and say, all right, it would be great to check in with JH. Um, then we can do that. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm happy to do the pod as well for sure. Um,
Okay.
consider that a go.
Well, appreciate it, man. I definitely appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, man. Again, I'm pumped for you, man. And here, what's your personal? Let me make sure I give you a follow right now before we
Okay.
go.
I'm Dan Clinton 502
Okay.
on
Uh,
everywhere.
Got you. Boom. You got to follow my friend.
Appreciate it.
I will be keeping an eye out for your content, and as I see it, that's the kind of shit that's valuable to my audience too. A
Okay.
lot of my
Appreciate
audience wants to nurture a skill.
Right.
A lot of people are out of work and they want to know what you know because you're able to make money from your home.
Absolutely.
So as I see shit that I think is great, I'll share it with my audience and start helping build some of your platform as well. Okay,
Well, I appreciate that, man. For
my
real.
guy. Be super well, man. Have a great week, and I'm pumped for you. So lock in, execute, and give me 2 years, and the next 2 years are gonna be OD different. So,
All right. Appreciate
all
it,
right,
John.
all right,
You have a
bro.
good day.
You too, man. Be well.